Destiny may not be with us for much longer. Yeah, I said that. Friends, I am Nihilist Worm here today to talk about the potential death of Destiny 2, which is not really a new topic to anybody, especially over here on our channel. We have talked about this before, but there are a couple of things that make me believe that Destiny 2 is not going to last very long post Final Shape's launch. And we're going to talk about those as well as some of the signs that accompany them. So the first thing here, the elephant in the room that we need to acknowledge is, of course, the fact that Destiny 2 is not really making money. Not making the amount of money it should be making is what I probably should say. For those of y'all who may have missed it, it was revealed to us like a little bit more than a month ago that Bungie missed the revenue projections for Lightfall by like 45%, which is an absolute ton of I mean, that's a lot, right? Like, imagine you go get a job somewhere and they promise you $100,000 a year and you only end up making 55,000. Like, that's a big disparity, right? That's a very vague example, but just to give you an idea. But with that, of course, Bungie started cutting people off their staff because it's not making money, and we got some insight as to why. And just today, of course, we got another article with a little bit more insight as to why they're doing this, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But it's not a secret that Destiny 2 is not doing as well as people would like, or I'm sorry, when I say people, I mean Bungie would like, and particularly the people that are in charge of decision making at Bungie. So with that being said, the primary reason why I don't think Destiny 2 will last very long is because Bungie is not making as much money as they should be off of it. Again, no secret here. The people that are in charge of decision makings at Bungie, you know, who gets to say, hey, we're going to continue working on this game or not do this, they're the ones who make these decisions, not the developers. The developers are literally the foot soldiers that actually make the game, but they don't get to call any of the real shots for the overall game's existence. That's up to the higher ups. And these higher ups, they don't care about the game. Okay, they don't care that, you know, it's you know, they don't probably, I shouldn't say they don't, but they probably don't play the game. They probably don't, you know, invest thousands of hours like many of us do into the game. Okay, and their main priority is the financial aspect. How much money will this game make? How much money will Destiny 2 make, particularly? How much, you know, can we afford to invest here and there? And is the game making money or not? And of course, Destiny 2 currently is not making money. And we just got an article today, and it was basically detailing from inside Bungie that's, you know, their leadership is split, right? Because some of it wants it, you know, some of their leadership, their board of whatever, their board, whatever that means, wants it to stay independent. Some of the board wants it to become a like full-on acquired by Sony, and like basically Sony takes over the entire Bungie, you know, corporation. I'm not gonna get into a lot of details behind that and the whole article that came out today. If you want that, you can go watch somebody else's channel. Rather, I want to talk about the death of Destiny 2, because Destiny, like I said, I don't think it's gonna last much longer because of this, because it's not making money, and we're seeing signs that it is coming to an end. And we're gonna talk about those signs here in just a second. But like, I want to make sure that, you know, we hit on the fact that Bungie is a corporation. Okay, they are not the same studio that we fell in love with Halo and all this stuff. Like, no, like, we have to let go of that. They are a full-on corporation. They care about making money. If something is not going to make money, they're not going to continue on with it. Destiny is not making the money it should. Now, of course, they're still trying, because Destiny is their only cash cow at the moment, right? They're working on Marathon and some other things, but Destiny is their only cash cow, so they have to put effort into it. But Destiny has, in the past, like historically, been not making it, like not doing it for them, right? Like Lightfall, the best-selling, according to Steam charts, best-selling DLC for Destiny 2's history, if I'm not mistaken, right? Destiny 2's history, not Destiny 1. Did not meet the expectations they wanted. That, to me, right there, like that signed Destiny 2's death certificate, right? Like, yes, like we have stuff coming. We're gonna talk about that. We have stuff coming down the line and stuff, but I think that when those like sales projections came out and it was 45% down, that signed the certificate. right? Because corporations, they don't, if they see something losing money, they don't say, oh, well, we're going to keep giving it a shot. We're going to keep trying and making it work. Like, that is very rare to have happen. That is very rare to happen. And maybe Bungie does that. Maybe that'd be wonderful. I would love to sit here and say that Destiny's got another 10 years in it, but I don't really know if it does. But moving on from, you know, the fact that Destiny 2 is not making Bungie money, I want to talk about the actual signs that Destiny 2 is coming to an end, because this is a lot more interesting to me personally, right? I think that Destiny has been losing money for several years now, right? Like, you don't go from being a perfectly normal functioning, you know, game with X amount of profit margins being met and stuff like that to all of a sudden just dipping by 45%. Like, I don't think Lightfall was that bad that it would drop the projections, you know, the revenue by 45%. Like, that's a ton. I think this has slowly been going on over years, and I think that Bungie is starting to wrap up its loose ends in the story, right? So here's what I mean. In Destiny 2, we know that, you know, Bungie's lingo is, we are about to conclude the Light and Darkness saga, right? Very exciting. We finally get to see what the darkness, this ambiguous darkness, was for all these years. We finally get to see it. We finally get to face off, maybe kill it, maybe, we don't know what's going to happen, but finally we get to do this. But if you look beyond the corporate jargon and the hype building that they do, there's nothing after that. Right? After the Witness is gone, you know, the Light and Darkness saga comes to an end. There's no other saga that has existed in Destiny 2. Like, ever since Destiny 1 launched, way back in 2014, it's always been about the Light and Darkness, right? And of course, at D1's initial launch, the Darkness was this really, really vague, ambiguous entity, I guess we could call it. And now, of course, we know that it's the Witness, you know, blah, blah, blah. But ever since the launch of Destiny 2 in 2014, we've been building up to this moment. You know, and Bungie, like, they're talking about how, like, oh, we're so proud of this saga, blah, blah, blah. There's not been another saga. There's been no mention of another saga. You know, yes, it's hype that we're finally coming to a close on this saga. I think the close on this saga is the close on Destiny 2 as a whole. And Bungie, they can't say, oh, well, we're closing Destiny 2's storyline, right? Because that would upset fans. That would really make people mad. Like, oh, we love Destiny 2. We want more of it. I want more of it. I want more story. I want more lore. I want more interactions, blah, 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 all this stuff. But Destiny has only ever been this, you know, light versus the darkness. And with the Light versus the Darkness saga closing, what else is there? And I know somebody's going to say, well, what about the episodes? And we're going to talk about the episodes here in just a second, but all Destiny has ever been is the Light and Darkness saga. And Bungie saying, well, we're coming to an end of the Light and Darkness saga. I don't see them having another saga lined up with a full storyline fleshed out. And here's the thing, I don't think Destiny 2's Light and Darkness saga was fleshed out like all the way to the point we are now when Destiny 1 first launched, right? I think when they launched it in Destiny 1, they had some ideas of where the story could go. I guarantee you, when Destiny 1 launched, the Witness was, I mean, not even created. Nobody had even thought of the idea of the Witness yet. But Destiny 2's only saga is coming to an end. Not only that, though, but I just mentioned that Bungie's kind of closing out storylines. There are 6 major enemy factions / races in the game currently, right? We've got the Fallen, the Cabal, the Hive, the Vex, the Scorn, and the Taken. That's 6 of them. Of those 6, 2 of those enemy species storylines have been closed. The Cabal storyline has been closed, right? Empress Title, the leader of the Cabal as an entire, you know, being, has sided with humanity. What else is there to do with the Cabal? Like, what are we supposed to have some random Cabal like challenge for power? Like, it wouldn't make sense to the story. The Cabal and humanity are now allies. That closed the Cabal story. The Cabal are done. Like, yes, they're still involved with, you know, what we're doing, hunting the Hive, stuff like that. But the Cabal storyline is closed. Same thing with the Fallen. The Fallen, you know, they are chasing the Traveler. You know, that's their whole story. They've been chasing the Traveler. That's why they're here in our solar system, because they're chasing the Traveler. We now have the House of Light, and Mithrax is the Kel. They are now living under the light of the Traveler. It closes the Fallen storyline. Like, there's nothing else we can really add. Like, yes, we have some loose ends. The Cabal have loose ends. You know, we still have Shadow Legion that exists. We still have some Red Legion that exists. The Fallen, we still have the House of Dusk that exists. We still have Aramis that exists. but these are much smaller on the scale of storylines. The main story of the Cabal, the main story of the Fallen, have been closed because they've sided with humanity. So that leaves 4 factions. We've got Vex, we've got Scorn, we've got Taken, and we've got Hive. Now, I don't know if y'all paid attention to the episodes that are coming and the infographic that Bungie did for the episodes, but the episode 1 is, if I'm not mistaken, it's episode 1 is going to be Vex themed. Hold on, sorry, my computer had a little hiccup there. It's going to be Vex themed. Is episode 1 going to be us closing the storyline on the Vex? Is episodes 2 going to be us closing the storyline on the Scorn and Taken? Especially with this dungeon here. This dungeon incorporates both Scorn and Taken, like fighting like on the same team, basically. Right? They're being combined into one. Whenever episode 2 starts, does that mean we're gonna get closure on the Taken and the Scorn story, which would just leave the Hive? And what do you know it? Episode 3 is gonna feature the Hive. Is it going to be us closing out the story on the Hive? I mean, realistically, once all the storylines are closed out on, you know, on these different alien races, what else is there to go off of? What could be worse than the Witness? Like literally like the pinnacle bad guy of Destiny 2. Like you can't make another Light and Darkness saga. You can't just make somebody who's even worse than the Witness. Like, oh, this is the, you know, we have Light and Dark. Now we have Rainbow coming in. Like it doesn't make sense. You know, I think that Bungie really is taking, you know, these episodes as an opportunity to close each of the storylines and be done with Destiny. After 2024, after the last episode wraps up, I don't see us getting major expansions. I don't see us really even starting a new saga, as Bungie calls it. And I think the whole thing with the saga and the idea behind, oh, well, the saga, blah, 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 blah. I really think that is just a, you know, something to build hype for people to let them down easy. Right? It's to let us down easy. That's why I think that Destiny 2 isn't really going to last much longer. Right? It's, you know, to recap here, it's losing money. It's been losing money. I think it's been losing money for years. And Bungie has been able to hide it well, but now that they have Sony involved, they can't do that. They have to hit certain, you know, thresholds for income and revenue and stuff like that. So with that being said, they're starting to wrap up these storylines. They're starting to wrap up. They've wrapped up the Cabal. They've wrapped up the Fallen. You know, next season, after Lightfall, or sorry, not Lightfall, Final Shape, we're going to wrap up the Vex storyline. Then we're going to wrap up the Scorn and the Taken. And then finally, we're going to wrap up the Hive. Okay? Because Sivu of Wrath is still out there, obviously. You know, there's still some questions that are unanswered that need to be answered. And Bungie knows that. But Bungie is going to try to answer these questions very vaguely. Like I said, you know, Fallen. They answered the question. What's going on with the Fallen? Well, the Fallen now have allied with humanity. What else is there to answer about it? Where's Aramis? I mean, does it really matter where Aramis is or what she's doing? You know, like, yeah, we'll probably get that answered at some point. Aramis, we know, is a servant of the Witness, so maybe Aramis is a raid boss in Final Shape, right? And then that's closing Aramis's story. And then the rest of the story, like, what else is there to tack on with the Fallen, right? Because the storyline would be like this, right? House of Light fights alongside the Guardians, and then the rest of the Fallen who don't choose to side with the Guardians, you know, the Fallen you might find in the European Dead Zone and stuff, those are just defects. Same thing with the Cabal. You know, you've got Shadow Legion defects, you got Red Legion defects. That's where they're going to be, right? And that's how they can write out the Cabal and the Fallen from the story and answer all the questions with still leaving those loose ends untied, and nobody's going to care about those loose ends if they're untied, right? Anyways, I don't know. This has gone on long enough. That's the reason why I think that Destiny is on its way out. Like, it hasn't been making money. That's the reason, and the evidence that it's on its way out is the way Bungie's been talking about episodes and, you know, the Final Shape being the closing of this saga, stuff like that. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts on it. Like, obviously, there's a lot going on. I would say this is a worst case scenario. Like, I don't want this to happen. Don't sit here and think I hate Destiny or anything, because I love Destiny. I don't want to see it end, but also let's not ignore the facts, right? Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. Of course, if you liked today's video, drop a like, helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations, such as this one. And yeah, do me a favor, watch the videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I will see y'all next time. Bye for now.